It's the J Bass Today Show. Get ready for a good time, a good time. It's the J Bass Today Show. Get ready to ride.
Welcome to the J Bass Today Show. Thank you so much for riding with me, and I hope you enjoy the show. Season's greetings. God bless you to each of you. Welcome to the J Bass Today Show. You'll hear that greeting again later, but I want to start off this broadcast with a few announcements because we're going to get very deep into some conversation today, a little self-talk, and which I hope will encourage you. But I want to invite you, those of you who are in the Galveston County and Houston area, to get some J Bass spaghetti this weekend. February the 3rd, it's going down. I will be at New Vision Church, and I will be preparing food, and it will be ready that morning because I do have rehearsal in Houston at 1:30. And so those of you who are available to be there, to come pick up your plate, or if you want to meet me in Houston, I would love for you to be able to partake. If you are not aware, every fundraising effort that J Bass Ministries is hosting in this season is to help me while I have been blessed to return to the studio and to work on my next volumes. And so these projects are to raise funds to get that done. Thank you so much for believing in the music. And one of the other fundraisers that is taking place right now is the 50-50 fundraiser. Hey, it's the 50-50 fundraiser. Hey, it's the 50-50 fundraiser. And you can be a part right now. The pot is at $67.50 as of January 31st, $60.50. That means we've made a little over $120 thus far. I brought it in, and so half of that belongs to whoever would be the winning entry. And so, okay, we already up to 67. If you contribute, it can be even greater. And so we look forward to what this will be by February the 10th at 3 p.m. So God bless you. And now to our regularly scheduled show. Season's greetings. God bless you to each of you. Thank you so much for joining me for today's episode of the J Bass Today Show. Do I have a show planned for you today? It's just me. And a lot of times it may seem like it may not be interesting because it's just me talking. But I do believe that some of the things that God lays on my heart to share can have a significant impact to those who actually take time to listen intently with the heart, from the heart, because it's coming from the heart. And today, often when I share these alone, I like to start with an Our Daily Bread. And I'm still in the 2017 book, and this particular one is July 18th. And I honestly believe I've read this before, I've seen this, but it stuck out to me again as it relates to the length of topic that I want to share with you. And so you'll have to stay on long enough to hear this to understand what I'm going to talk about, because it's going to get pretty deep. I believe that it's going to take me pretty deep into my life and what it means for me to be here alive and as well as I am in this season and at this juncture of my life. And so I'm reading from the July 18th, 2017, Our Daily Bread, which is entitled Beyond Labels. Already out to a good start. A church in my city has a unique welcome card that captures the love and grace of God for everyone. It says, if you are a saint, sinner, loser, winner, followed by many other terms used to describe struggling people: alcoholic, hypocrite, cheater, fearful, misfit. You are welcome here. One of the pastors told me we read the card aloud together in our worship services every Sunday. How often we accept labels and allow them to define who we are, and how easily we assign them to others. But God's grace defies labels because it is rooted in his love, not in our self-perception. Whether we see ourselves as wonderful or terrible, capable or helpless, we can receive eternal life as a gift from him. The Apostle Paul reminded the followers of Jesus in Rome that at just the right time, when we were still powerless, Christ died for the ungodly. Romans chapter 5, verse 6. The Lord does not require us to change by our own power. Instead, he invites us to come as we are to find hope, healing, and freedom in him. But God demonstrates his own love for us in this. While we were still sinners, Christ died for us. Verse 8, the Lord is ready and willing to receive us just as we are. Heavenly Father, thank you for your amazing love in Jesus. God's forgiveness defies our labels of failure or pride. Today's reading comes from Romans chapter 5, verses 1 through 11. But God demonstrates his own love for us in this. While we were still sinners, Christ died for us. And again, that is Romans chapter 5, verse 8. All right, I'm jumping right in. I was recently listening to the Potter's House Wednesday night Bible study for tonight, which is January 31st, 2024. And they were talking about our body, and the title was entitled "The Body Language That Our Bodies Do Speak." And I think about so much as it pertains to my body. And oftentimes, one of the first things that kind of leaps out to me is the sexual sins that I have committed for years and years. And I write about a lot of this in my book. They're just not that interested in me, which I still do plan to have that book edited. I found out how much that's going to cost. I do plan on having it edited and to get some more copies made and available, because what I don't want to happen is for us to see this season of life and not understand what it has taken to get here. I've often said that many just don't understand what all it takes to get up and live as Jay Bass on a daily basis, especially knowing a lot of the things that Ja'Cory has done over the years that were not Christian, that were not Christ-like, that were not godly, and that I often think about a lot of the why did you do those things, and I find myself always coming back to self-worth. You see this beautiful smile in the background, and you see this one, and you see me at times happy and jovial, and I've had that, and I've been able to be that in moments throughout the years as well. But there's also been something going on the inside, because as a child, when you are bullied and when you're made fun of, and when people talk about you in a negative way and make you feel bad about being yourself, and so many things, we downplay that and we want to call people weak because of those kind of things. But as a child and you're experiencing this, it is a bit trying to navigate that and to understand how to get through that and get past that in the right way. And so as I got older and older, and I'm starting to see things about life, and I'm starting to see things about myself that I do not like, it became depressing. I'm seeing things that I'm hearing people say about me, and I'm witnessing these issues that I see about myself that I don't like. And I'm like, God, why am I doing this? And I think I even shared this in the book at some point, but that affected my relationship with God, because I'm thinking, I'm going to church, I'm calling out to you, I'm crying out to you because I'm seeing these issues within myself and I need help. I'm trying to change. I want to change. I know the need for change is there. The things I'm doing are embarrassing, they're shameful, they're nasty, and I need help. And I want to share these things because uh, I see so many people that act like everything is all right, and then they want to cast down those of us who have made these lower choices. And I never want it to be that Jay Bass thinks he's better than anybody else. I've always felt like, or not always, here in these recent years, felt like I have been one of the worst human beings to ever live. And I thought that because I grew up in the church. I grew up with God's word. I did grow up with people telling me right from wrong. I did have a set of values that were ingrained in me that I chose to go against. And so when you talk about the HIV, when you talk about the kidney, which led to the kidney failure, and then days like this week on Monday after dialysis, I can't drink. I love to drink water. I cannot drink as much water as I would like to because after having some serious issues back to back with blood pressure and all of this over the past few months, it has been between what I've seen with the doctors and talked to them and the nurses, is that if I drink too much fluid, my body, I'm not urinating as much as I used to. And I thank God I still am, but it's not as much. And so my body is retaining that fluid. And I'm telling you, golly, it can pile on so quick. I think about and this is just a small testimony, but it just a thought. Friday of last week, I left dialysis and I was 177 point something, 177 pounds, like 0.8 or something like that. So almost 178. But when I got back on Monday, I was at 190. So that's 13 pounds. And it was mostly fluid because, of course, once they start taking off the fluid, then you start seeing that the weight decreases significantly. And so in an effort, and so the dry weight would be 81, and I think I might have been 84.2 or 85.2. I'm sharing these things because to me, it's important for someone to get an understanding of these things, because I'll be honest, as a child, even as a young adult, I still never thought that I would have to deal with this level of sickness and issue within my body. It has led me to the fact that there are people who are dealing with things that are part of life that I'm sure they, as a child, they would have never imagined that this is what they would have to deal with. This is what they would have to go through. And I was told at a young age that I would have some trials and things, but that God would use me. And it's amazing to share these kind of testimonies. I'm getting back to the weight and all of that, but it's amazing how you can see yourself one way, some people can see you one way, and then other people can see you another way. And then to know God sees you another way. And on one hand, there are people who see you as gay, or who see you as crazy, or they see you as a slut, they see you as a whoremonger, they see you as a prostitute, they see you as a liar, they see you as whatever other names, like the book was saying. They see you as this. They have labeled you as this. And so it was a stark contrast to be called in on Tuesday just to teach the Negro National Anthem at a local middle school. And when I walked in, they had been disrupted by testing that was just kind of thrown on them. And so the teacher who called me in to do the Negro National Anthem with the students, or to teach the Negro National Anthem with the students, to the students. Oh my gosh, I got to get my words together. Anyhow, she was talking to a group of young boys who were there, all seventh graders, and I could tell that they were problematic, quote unquote, and had some, probably some behavioral issues, because she was really kind of talking to them about things and they were asking her questions. And I actually was so happy that they were with her, because it was a blessing to see how she cared for them and took the time to share with them, but was also very stern to let them know that she demanded respect. And they gave her that respect. There was a point where they all were doing their work and quiet, and that really spoke volumes to me and gave me hope for our coming generations. But one of the young men asked me, was I a pastor? And I'm thinking, I'm standing here and I'm thinking certain things, but this is what they see. And I shared this on another live, I believe, on Facebook, that I don't believe it's necessarily the role of a pastor, because that's we. But what I do believe is that he saw someone who represented God. That if there's an anointing on my life or what have you, I hadn't really said anything, but he asked that question, and it really stood out to me, because what it spoke to me is people don't always see you like you think they see you. And that really stood out to me. And it brought back to question, how do you see yourself? And so I think about going in and having all that fluid. And so with the body having these overloaded and the blood pressure being elevated and things, it's just a big difference. And just like today, I think when I left, I was back down to 180. And so 10 pounds, 12, 13 pounds of fluid. Just from, because I love to drink water, and this season I'm a big icy drinker. And so I love fluid. And so to have to pull back from that, it is a challenge. I love sweet tea. It's a challenge. But I was listening to this discussion with the Potter's House, and as I was listening, it just brought back to mind all of the things that I know that I've done and what I honor God for. At one point, it was almost that thought of living as Jabez, living as Ja'Cory. It really began to kind of overwhelm me, and I was able to, thank God, thankfully process this and turn it into a place of praise, because in spite of all that I've done, in spite of all that I've been through, the mistakes that I've made, I do still see God's favor on my life. I do still see God blessing me. I do appreciate the modicum of health and strength that I do have, because honestly, it really could be another way. I just got news that a brother that I've met here in this area, I saw him at a funeral Saturday, and he just passed, I guess, today or yesterday. I knew he'd been sick, and he'd been sharing that he'd been dealing with some things, but you just never know. And so for me to still be here and have this opportunity, I'm grateful to God. I am so grateful. And I've always wanted to contribute something to the earth. And sometimes it seems like, because of what I've done and the mistakes I've made, that I may not get a chance. I may not get a chance to see the music completed. I may not get a chance to complete a lot of the different things that are in my heart to do. It's a lot of different projects, a lot of different goals and dreams. And when you have lived this kind of life and God has given you an extension past not just when I could have died, because it's been many car wrecks. It's just been a lot. When I can, if I can really find a way to go back over the timeline, it has been a lot that God has protected me from and protected me through and brought me through. And so that's why I cry and pour out in worship and adoration to God like I do, because this has been a very intense journey. And so to see the favor, to see the blessings, to see what God is doing in this season, it means something. Just the fact that this show being manifested, even though it may not be the Hollywood, Oprah, all these big show with the producers and production and having a team. I do this on my own, and I'm at my laptop, blah, 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 in my living room, in my home, fulfilling a dream the way I can, using what I have to do what I can with this show. And so I honor God that for years, this show has been on the background. I had the jbassadayShow at yahoo.com email way before this show manifested in this form. But once I realized I could do it through Zoom in this manner, and also download the editing software that's free, thank God, I'm able to complete a show and upload it to YouTube and make it available to you. And so it's so many different things, even with the music that I have released, being able to purchase my own recording equipment and get things done was a blessing. And I honor God for that. I honor him. And I think about, the music and all of the things that are still on the back burner that I'm praying for grace. I'm praying for grace to get those things done, because if you could understand, I wouldn't want anyone to feel like I felt on Monday. I wouldn't want anyone to go through the things that I've been through in this life. If I share this in hopes, and I go so deep sometimes into the history, which I've often been told I shouldn't. But I feel a sense of responsibility to do that only because it's my prayer that someone can be spared from going through what I've been through. Someone can be spared dealing with what I've dealt with. You don't want this kind of testimony. I don't want this kind of testimony. But guess what? It's mine. It's embarrassing. It's shameful. It's a lot to try to get over the regret. It's a lot to press through the shame. It's a lot to press through the embarrassment. That's why when someone says something nowadays, I kind of laugh at them, and I'm looking like, you're saying this, but you just don't know how I felt about myself. And at this point, I'm not going to sit there and take it and let you do that, because it has taken me so much to get through those low moments that I've done to myself. After it was done at a young age and getting older and continually happening, and then I take it on and start doing it to myself, which is, I'm thinking, what the quote unquote enemy wanted me to do. Then God helps me to start navigating through that and getting that out of my system, to stop doing that to myself. That I am fearfully and wonderfully made, that I am somebody. There is something special about me. There is something unique about me. And so stop doing that to yourself, Jabaz. You have to talk to myself like that. And so I cannot let anyone do that to me now. It's a relationship that I had been praying for years, and it was finally coming into fullness, and we were doing great things together. And it started to break off because I'm listening to the things that are being said. It's one thing for someone to express their feelings, but then when their feelings, what they're projecting are their feelings about you, and it's negative after negative after negative, and there's no positive reinforcement. There's no kind of apology. There's nothing. I've had to back up, but I'm being talked about in the situation, because it's as if I said, I don't have anything to do with you. And the devil is a lie. There's no way I could pray for a relationship and pray about a relationship and pray for an individual and want to cast them away. I know how it feels to be cast away. I know how it feels to be shunned. I know how it feels to be blacklisted and blackballed. I know that. I know that feeling. I would not do that to someone else. However, what I cannot allow is for anyone to continually bombard me with things I've done in the past and projecting as if I'm still that same person, that I've made no headway, that my intentions are not good. The devil is a lie. The devil is a lie. And if I know that that's not my truth, and I'm telling you that, and I'm trying to understand you, and you don't understand me, then the best thing for me to do is take my hands off of it. If we could work in business, let's do that. But then if you say let's not do that, then on a personal level, I cannot just have a regular conversation with you because I understand that there's that tone. There's that backdrop behind that. And it finds its way up. It keeps finding its way up. And so if we can't go have therapy or do something about it, I don't know what else to do. We've talked, I don't know what else to do. And so just thinking about life, and there's so many variables that we have to deal with. So many, I call them compartments of life. You have the financial compartment, and in that compartment, there is so much. There's so much. At some point, I think I've saved receipts after receipts after receipts and bills, so much paper. And I'm thinking one day I'm just going to burn all that stuff up, because I was hoping to really, that's another project, really have somebody just to come in and look at what has been done over the course of this life financially, because I know I've mismanaged money. I know I have. Just like I mismanaged my life, I have mismanaged my finances, because the way God has blessed me, if I lived within my means and really budgeted and done some things differently, I could have a significant amount of money put back. I could have accomplished even more than the great things that I have been blessed to accomplish. And so I recognize that. But it's so much. It's so many different aspects, the social aspect, and you're trying to navigate how to deal with people, and not isolate yourself, and not give up the fight to fellowship and those kind of things. It really becomes trying. And then your education, then your spiritual life, there is just so much. And so when I thought about sharing with you all today, it really came from hearing this particular Bible study and just thinking what I've done with this body. And I honor God in times, because as much bad as I've done, I have done some great things. And I honor God for that, because I believe if I had not been fruitful in some areas of my life, that I would have been cut off. He gives you chance after chance, and if you bear no fruit, then you cut off. But I have certainly been pruned. I have certainly been pruned, without question, cut back multiple times. And sometimes I wonder if I will ever be able to really grow forth and sprout and blossom and do those wonderful things that are in my heart to do, or will he cut me down for good before any of that manifests? But what I see is I'm still here. And so as many of these J Bass Today shows as I can record, as much music as I can release, as many books as I can write, as many stage plays and movies as I can appear in, and do whatever it is that I can find for my hands to do, especially in what will bring God glory from this life. I often refer back to the prayer of Jabez, which is, I pray that you receive all glory. It is my prayer that God receives all of that. Sometimes I've questioned, God, how can you receive the glory out of some of this mess? But on that same token, if someone sees this and they hear my heart, that I would not want you to feel like I felt in this life. Not about yourself. There is something special about you. See, I realize that now, and it brings back that thought of if I'd have known then what I know now. But I had to go through it. I had to go through it because I've been hard-headed. I've been disobedient. And my parents used to say that about me all the time. Hard-headed and disobedient. And it's just been the case. Not always hard-headed and disobedient, but there have been times. And because of that, there are consequences. And that's why, at some junctures of my life, it was actually a challenge just to accept continuing to live, because it's like, I've made the mistakes. I know I've made the wrong choices. And so why am I still being allowed to live? Then I'm seeing others passing away who I feel like have lived a good life and have been an example for me. And I'm thinking, God, the way I felt, I would have taken their place. But that's not my choice to make. It's not mine. It's because this life does not belong to me. Your life is not your own. Our lives are not our own. God created us for such a time as this, for a purpose like this. And I don't know many people who are as transparent and blunt about things as I am. And there are sometimes, and even as upfront as I am, I try to temper my words with some modicum of care and something. It's something else I want to use that. But anyway, I try to choose my words wisely, but I do want to make sure that it's clear about those things that I'm referring to, such as the HIV and the homosexuality. All that played a part together. And even though there's nobody in my life now and has not been for a significant while, and this is one of those things that has kind of gotten to me, because for years and years, especially growing up in the church, and knowing how society is, knowing how the church feels, and reading the word of God and seeing some of the things that I've read in God's word, and knowing the impact of sexual sins and seeing the impact, I asked God to deliver me even before I ever slept with the first person. God, I need your help, because as a young child, I'm mannish. I'm a peeping Tom. I'm looking, I'm watching, I'm finding porn. I'm doing all these things that I don't have any business doing as a child. See, those are the kind of deeper things that somebody say you shouldn't. Why are you saying that? Because there are children dealing with it right now. They may not have somebody else coming in and doing this and the other, but they're doing it on their own. They're going out and looking for it. And I want to believe that there are some of them who want to be delivered, who want to be free from that, because they may be growing up in church as well and realize something's wrong with this. And so then that transfers and starts saying something is wrong with me. And then, God, what's the problem? Why are you not delivering me? Why are you not setting me free? Why are you not making me whole? When that's what I'm reading that you're able to do. So on this end, what it seems like is I had to go through all of that, sleep with so many that I have no count. So being in this season, who would want to be with somebody like that? Who would I expect? Who could I expect? Why would I even want to have anybody be put in that situation? Why? And so I've been by myself, and I've had to keep my focus on other things, on being productive, on being fruitful, because I keep the mindset of I don't want to put out, I don't want to cause anybody else to have to go through what I'm going through. Yes, I honor God that I've started taking my medications regularly and like I'm supposed to, and I have an undetectable report. And so they say, yeah, now you can go and have sex and not transmit a disease. But it's been too much. It's been too much. When you have had almost every STD there is, what kind of life is that? See, I understand that even as I sit here and I say this, somebody will see this and they can take it and run with it and call you nasty and I mean, it's just so much that can be said. And the thing is that I felt that. I felt it about myself. About myself. And like, what is wrong with you? How could you do those things? How? But you're sick. It wasn't a physical sickness, it was a mental sickness. Spiritually sick. And then the horrible part is what I often find myself referring back to is you're crying out for help. I can't even begin to enumerate the times that I cried out for help, that I'm suffering, that I'm struggling. And it makes me think how many other people are suffering and struggling that we're overlooking. That we're studying crushing on the JT show. And there's a point in the book where a bishop talks about the people that we're walking past, that we're not hearing their cries. And I often think about that. And sometimes I feel powerless to help. That's why I want to get my life coaching practice right. Because when God really allows me to do it, I want to be able to help somebody. That's why I share these things here, because if I can share my story and someone sees something about themselves that they realize may cause them some issues down the line that they can change now, do it. Y'all, please do it. Please, please. I would not want anybody to live this kind of life. To have shared the level of low things that I share with you all, that I've written in my book, I have to keep putting these things before you because it's a part of my journey. And it's a part of the journey that has brought me to where I am now, that I am not sleeping around. I sleep in a little bunk bed, in the top of the bunk bed by myself. Can't tell you the last time. I mean, it's just like, instead of God just taking away the desire, see, that's a difference. And that, there was talking about the stories of my life. There was a time I went to one of the popular churches in Houston, and the pastor said there's somebody that wants to be delivered from homosexuality. And I ran to the altar, passed out, got anointed and all that. And for days, I'm thinking, okay, God, you're going to work it out. But then I see the kind of man, because that's the thing. Sometimes I laugh at some of these people. You look and they think you're looking at them in a certain kind of way. Let me tell you, there's a certain type, and you are not it. But when I see that type, I'm like, golly. And see, a quote unquote straight heterosexual man does not understand that. And I get it. But that same feeling when you look at a female who has this certain type of body, it's that same with somebody who is homosexual. They see someone of the same sex and they are physically, or whatever you want to say, turned on by it. They see something that they like. I don't know if this can get any plainer and clearer tonight. This is a Jay Bass Today show for the record, but that's the truth. It is the truth, period and point blank. And if this is not helping you, you can log off. There's somebody who can be helped by this. It is my endeavor to encourage. I have been encouraged to encourage. And so if I can help somebody, that's my duty. That's my responsibility. And if how that comes across and how real it is and how transparent it is offends someone, I do apologize. But it is the reality of the life that I've experienced and that I'm living. And what I've recognized that others are as well. And so what I thought was, God, the deliverance is that you will take the taste away, that you will take the desire away, that you will take that feeling away. But then I'm abstaining, but I'm still seeing and I'm still warning. Well, God, what? I thought you delivered me. I thought I was delivered. What's the problem? What's going on? So after a while, and one of the things for me, and I'm kind of going, and I'm gonna shut it down shortly, has been most people are really just not interested in me, period and point blank. A lot of the people that I did have an encounter with, I went out and chased after. I was the one making the calls. I was the one trying to set things up, because I probably would still be a virgin if it was left up for somebody to come after me. That just, the ones that I'm interested in are not interested in me. And a lot of times the ones that are interested in me, I'm not interested in. And so it's a pretty good balance, but I was the one that went out and made those choices. And it was my fault. That's, I accept that. And I thank God for his forgiveness. I apologize often and repent often, because golly, I've wasted so much time. I need your help to redeem this time, God. Only you can do it. And I think, all those encounters and knowing that they're just not interested. And so that's, to be honest with you, that's how this season is so easy. So easy. You could even be in groups of other people who are like-minded, who want to be in relationships, and there are thousands of people, and not one of them wants to be with you. And so all of that coupled together, it really sets a tone to understand, okay, this is what that looks like. This is what that deliverance looks like. This is the way that God is delivering. This is the way that he's setting free. This is the way that he's making whole. And so I honor God. I honor him for this season. I am grateful to be at this juncture and to have this show and this opportunity to share these things with you. And if there's someone who sees this Jay Bass Today Show episode and you can identify, you need someone to lean on, someone to talk to, you need some encouragement, you're working through some of the things that I've shared, then I would love to talk to you. I would love to be a shoulder to lean on. One thing that I am is a safe place. There's a church that I've known and served at, and I loved that name, because to be a safe place means a lot, that a person can confide in you and never hear it again. That means a lot. And so I pray that you have been blessed by this episode today. I definitely would love to hear from you all. What I do understand is in this season, most people don't make it to the end. And so if you made it to the end, I know that you made it for a reason. And it is my prayer that something in some way, some shape or form has encouraged you, even if that is to make a better decision moving forward. It's one moment, it's one decision at a time. God bless you all.
It's the Jay Bass Today Show. Now I'm telling you that it's your attitude. I have an attitude. gratitude. Lord, you've been good to me.